I'm Isabel Hoyo from ScaleChanger, and I'm very happy to be with you today to share with you a little bit about the evaluation we have just done of LP4Y's project. So one of the key things that we saw was that the program has an impact on the youth and on their mobility. So a lot of the youth that are joining LP4Y programs are coming from traditional families, don't necessarily have a lot of career expectations, and find it difficult to enter the job market. The program allows them to have a greater mobility, to think about their future perspective, to reflect on their potential career, to have more confidence, and to develop some of the skill sets, whether they'd be soft skills and some hard skills such as English and computer training. The approach being very much around learning by doing is very relevant according to what we saw for the profile of youth that engage in the program. It allows to have concept or skills that can be then straight away implemented in the learning by doing approach, and that is something that helps them to then gain the confidence in applying them. And this is strengthened by the microeconomics initiatives, which allow for practical implementation of the skill sets, and especially in when those MEIs are done with external stakeholders. As the organization has a strong culture of feedback, so for example in Bangalore we're very impressed by how there was a strong empowerment of the youth in designing the program, in enhancing it, and this feedback loop allows to the youth to really feel as though the center is theirs, or not as though, but to feel that the center is theirs. One of the key objectives of LP4Y is to have a professional integration of the youth. In the centres that we visited, more than half of the youth managed to find a job at the end of the programme, which is a good outcome, which has been though impacted quite importantly by the COVID crisis, because the rates were higher before. What we see though is there are a few questions that are raised through this integration. One is LP4Y is promoting decent jobs, but which is not readily available in the ecosystem. So the youth may not be able to get decent jobs just because they're difficult or they're scarce in the environment. And also one of the questions that is raised is can the youth actually sustain the job, which is a link to the job market, which is not that easy because the youth enter quite a lot of SMEs, which won't have stable jobs, but at the same time, do they have the willingness or the capacity to sustain those jobs? One of the dimensions that the evaluation was looking at is the HR and the structural organization of LP4Y. One of the characteristics is that the organization is mainly based on volunteers, especially coming from France. And the organization has managed to organize itself in such a way that they can welcome them in batch and provide them with tools and support. And that is a strong point in its unicity. Now I wanted to share with you some of the recommendations that we also felt came out of this evaluation. One is on the strengthening the pedagogy. We feel that there's still scope for improvement in how the volunteers, the catalysts, are trained so that they can enhance their training capacity. So maybe a stronger training of trainers would be useful, and a more structured educational content also to improve and have a greater impact in the learning. Also, having some local trainers could help understand some of the very conceptual concepts, which may be harder to grasp if the language is also a barrier. As I was mentioning earlier on, the long-term professional integration should be or is an objective of LP4Y, and it could be monitored in a more robust way, and also a target of LP4Y to help the youth sustain their job or find the job. and a reflection perhaps on the green village theory of change, which is to integrate some rural youth, but the job that the LP4Y prepares for is mainly urban jobs, and reflecting on what rural jobs could be for the youth could be also a great added value to them. Then one of the points that we feel also would be useful for LP4Y to consider is how to strengthen the local anchoring of LP4Y program, and that could take different shapes. One would be, for example, by hiring a greater number of local catalysts, so which is something that has started already since we have done, well, that was already engaged in the past, and that has been strengthened this summer. But we feel that's a very strong added value. And also what could be useful is strengthening the local governance, having a greater role for the local governance of in each country, as well as having a strategic committees to help anchor and navigate through the local context in a stronger way. And finally, to conclude, because I don't want to be too long and I want you to be able to want to read the reports that we put together, one of the questions was regarding the scaling of LP4Y program. And we feel currently there's scope to scale, and scaling can mean very different things, because you can have deepening your impact on each of the beneficiaries, and we feel that's something that's definitely one of the things that LP4Y should explore, in how to go deeper with each of the youth that join the program, especially in time. And then also there's a will to replicate geographically, and we feel that one of the key success factor to that would be to really tie and have a strong link with the local ecosystem, and a strong partnership. Well done for all the good work, and we hope that you can have a successful continuation of all the projects. Best wishes.